welcome in. This is Nate Henry back to give you the Week 6 recap and weekly impressions. But before we get into it, I want to remind you to follow me on Twitter at NateHenryFF. And if you like this video and others that we release like it, please click that subscribe button, give this video a like, and leave some comments if you have any questions. With that said, let's get into it. Look, we recognize that not everybody can watch every game. So we want to give you some instant fantasy analysis and a recap from every game. That's why we do this video, which is hard-hitting, quick analysis to help you make your waiver decisions, find trade targets, and digest each week's action. With that said, let's dive into it. All right, first matchup of the week is the Detroit Lions versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. No recap would be complete without discussing Deandre Swift's breakout in this game. True, the Jaguars defense is pretty weak, but the number suggests a more involved player. Swift received 14 carries, 4 targets, and 38% of the snaps. Now, I know that 38% doesn't seem like a lot, but it did lead the team. I'm not going gaga over this production quite yet, but there's certainly some optimism here. I think I'd be buying, but not too much. Second matchup, Cincinnati Bengals versus the Indianapolis Colts. Trey Burton's role in this game was no fluke. He saw a designed wildcat run, 5 targets, and 56% of the snaps. Jack Doyle did play a few more snaps than Trey Burton, but it's clear that Frank Reich wants to involve Burton, especially around the end zone. Also notable here, Mo Alley-Cox was an inactive player. So more reason for optimism for Burton. Chicago Bears versus the Carolina Panthers. I may have overreacted last week in declaring Robbie Anderson the Panthers wide receiver 1, especially after DJ Moore just saw 11 targets in week 6, including 2 end zone targets. Unfortunately, both were broken up and neither led to touchdowns. Yet the main issue I see with Moore is that the Panthers are failing to protect Teddy Bridgewater. He was sacked 4 times and ended the game with 8 rushing attempts, which I think were all pocket escapes. So it's not all roses for DJ Moore, but certainly more optimism than what we saw last week. Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was notable to see that James Washington actually led the team in targets, but it was Chase Claypool who led the team in snaps and yards. Now, I'm not reading too much into James Washington's usage here because Deontay Johnson will likely retake Washington's targets, but Chase Claypool, 78% of the snaps, and continued dominance suggests that he will continue to receive heavy playing time even after Deontay Johnson returns from injury. Baltimore Ravens versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Objectively, the Ravens are running Lamar Jackson a little less than last year. Jackson only ran the ball 9 times this game, which you can compare to 11 times per game in 2019. And 2 of those 9 runs were broken down pass plays where he escaped the pocket. That said, when the game was actually on the line, they did run him. They ran him on a 3rd down play that sealed the game. And just remember, all he needs is 1 touch, as evinced by the 37-yard zone read that turned into a touchdown. I do think that Jackson is being used a little less to protect him for the playoffs, but he's going to run a little more in some closer games. I think his running amount is worth monitoring, though, in the future. Texans versus the Titans. Anthony Ferkshire was heavily involved even before Jonnu Smith's ankle injury, which I think is notable. He had a great week this week, and that was even with Jonnu Smith involved. I think he's a priority pickup this week for a tight end needy team, especially if Jonnu Smith isn't going to play. Washington football team versus the New York Giants. Kyle Allen has developed what seems to be a nice chemistry with Terry McLaurin, targeting him 12 times in week 6. Still, this offense is majorly capped by Allen's passing talent, or lack thereof, because F1 was only able to turn in 7 catches for 74 yards. I don't think I want anything to do with this Washington offense moving forward. Broncos versus the New England Patriots. Cam just didn't quite look right to me in this game. It may have had something to do with losing right tackle Jermaine Ellenmuner mid-game, or being diagnosed with COVID. I don't know. Who knows? Cam was under pressure a lot, though, regardless of the reason. He took 4 sacks and he turned the ball over 3 times against the mediocre Broncos. I think this was a bit surprising, but probably mostly noise due to an offensive line mid-game shakeup. Look for things to improve with a stable offensive line situation, regardless of whether their starting right tackle misses time. The Atlanta Falcons versus the Minnesota Vikings. I liked what I saw out of Irv Smith in this game. He actually ran around on 74% of passing plays and played more snaps than Kyle Rudolph, 79% to 68%. He's an interesting name to remember down the line because his numbers keep trending in the right direction. All right, the Jets versus the Dolphins. I think you can ignore Adam Shaheen's 3 for 51 and a touchdown because he only ran 9 total routes. His biggest play of the game was actually a right place, right time situation after Fitzpatrick made a bit of a play. I think Gesicki's still the Dolphins' main tight end. He ran 24 routes, which is second on the team, even though technically he really just plays slot receiver. All right, the Packers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not convinced that Chris Godwin was 100% in this game. While he nearly led the team in targets, he still played a relatively low number of snaps, only 62%. He didn't run a route on as many passing plays as he normally does, only 74% in this game. And I saw him run a bit gimpy after a play or two ended. Still, he got 7 targets on 27 total passes for a 26% target rate in a game where he probably wasn't 100%. So I think that speaks to his talent. Also, it should be noticed that the Tampa Bay was gifted 2 touchdowns due to Rodgers' interceptions. So Tampa Bay really did not need to pass that much in this game. Last game of the week, or of the Saturday matchups, that is the Rams versus the 49ers. Man, I just wish Raheem Mostert would stay healthy because he's a lot of fun to watch. Got an ankle injury, and it's certainly worth monitoring, but I think I'm going to try and buy him this week. He's used like a workhorse when he's healthy, and I'm betting on a short injury timeline because he actually tried to come back in the game. And the Mostert manager may be sick of this injury status. So give it a shot. All right, that wraps it up for the week. Thanks for watching, and we will see you after week 7.